I'll show today our other DineIntel's restaurant food ordering systems. We have a payment integration in place. I will just cover the payment integration part. How does the payment integration works as a part of our conversation workflow? Is in place. The way the payment integration works right now is whenever by using the conversations or from the menu that somebody is placing an order, say that I asked a questions earlier, compare samosa prices, right? And by that, I get a list of items that is recommended from the different restaurants, right, with the prices. So that I see the Royal Biryani House bottle here, right, has a samosa. I wanted to order that, right? So that I've shown earlier that when I do that, right, I need to press some of the informations for the customers. As a customers, I need to put some informations which I'm putting, right? And as a part of the ordering process, the email notification goes to the customers. So this email is very important, and I am saying as soon as possible, right? So while then there is an option for the reviewing order. We know that we covered in the earlier video. Then there is another button that's been earlier it was a place order. Now it is pay and place order. When I click the pay and place orders, it takes to the Stripe checkout automatically, right? Then I just click the pay and place orders, right? That's I ordered one samosa, and it takes me to the Stripe pay, right? So now when I click the pay, it none of the information gets stored here. It is entirely the checkout.stripe.com, right? So it is integrated over there. So everything is getting processed by the Stripe. Now, once the order get processed, right, then we can see that the order gets submitted here. Now, what is happening behind the scene? That's when I say that order is submitted, right? So there are a few things that's going on as a part of the payment process, right? First, let's look at that's customer orders get submitted, right? And I'm expecting an email from the and also the restaurant owner gets an email that's some order is being placed, right? So now order is all. Now let me go to the transactions page here, right? So if I go to the transaction page, you'll see that's if I click in the this is a Stripe, right? In the Stripe page, you're gonna see that's some amount in the morning, right? Just now, right? That gets added. So it means it's being paid already, right? It's being paid, and the way it gets a confirmation is, so whenever uh, checkout happens, right? It's 8:51 a.m. There is a webhook, right? A Stripe webhook that confirms the checkout session is completed, right? When these webhook gets triggered, right? At that time, status gets updated into the database as a paid, and the order status comes as a submitted, right? So these are the activity that is going behind the scenes. So there is an order that's that Stripe billing API is picking up, and then I told you that I will get an email from the Stripe. See that these are the Stripe. Congratulations, Agamunia Labs. You just received a payment through Stripe, right? So that, right, and this webhook, once this webhook kicked off from the Stripe, right, and it is able to successfully update, send a message confirming that this payment is received, then this status uh, comes in the database as a paid, right? Now once this happens, so let's go to the page one more. That time that's this will gonna come as a submitted. Now I wanted to go to now what is submitted. Now what would gonna happen? Now I would wanted to log in as a user, sorry, a restaurant owner, because restaurant owner also get an email. I showed, right? So I'm logging as a restaurant owner. So while logging as a restaurant owner and the carry out order, I can see that there is an order that comes here, right? So if I reject the order, what is gonna happen? There is a refund process that gonna kick off in the background, right? So the restaurant owner, just if they feel that okay, no, the item is not available for some reason, right, and they need to cancel the order, they can reject. If they reject, now there will be refund processing from the scribe, and that refund will go to the customers, right? Now there might be a little bit delay of the refund based on the banking and all of these things set up, but whatever it is, there is a refund that would gonna go to the customers if the order does not get accepted. On the other hand, so that if a restaurant owner, say for example, confirms, right, accept and confirms, what would gonna happen is by clicking this one, I have shown earlier that's I have shown earlier basically that we'll get an order accepted email, right, from the system itself, right? So system will say that your order is accepted. The customer will gonna get to know this is the customer email address, right? Now customer get to know now the your order is completed. Now the restaurant prepare the food, right, and they have some time, say after that, say maybe 15 to 30 minutes, they make it as a ready. When it is ready, this basically it would come as a ready for pickup, right? These ready for pickup customer can view from there by logging as into the system as well. But on top of it, they will get notification also that your order is ready for pickup, right? So now that at the end that's it's picked it up, then it can put it as a complete. Now when the order is complete, customer will get another email called order is complete. I think I covered this flow earlier, so I do not need to now go one more time about all this detail, but I just wanted to showcase that's how the entire workflow works, right? Now with this, so I wanted to show you the refund process right now because I have already accepted. I would gonna order another workflow, maybe this similar order, but I'm logging as a customer now. Now while logging as a customers, right, I can order food, right? Maybe I can order the same food one more time, right? Maybe at these times I wanted to I don't wanted to put more than one order. I'm putting all the customer information here. Same thing, that's what I said I wanted to take at 12 p.m. right? Review the order, place the order. Now as I placed, right, this is going to Stripe. I'm doing one more time, then it is getting processed, right, in the Stripe itself. Then the webhook gets kicked off automatically, and that we put it as a paid into the inside the database and mark this as a order as a submitted, right? So now when this happens, now I will gonna go to, now order is placed, right? I will go to now login as a restaurant owner, right? So that I can I wanted to showcase now the how the refund process in case restaurant think that that item is not available, how does it work? So again I mentioned that I can click a reject, right? When I click a reject, what happens is that it is rejected behind. So you see this is the last transactions, it says the refunded, right? There is a refund date also, right? So it see that's earlier one was succeeded and this one is refunded. So that's how it comes. So whenever the refund comes, right, so this refund automatically happens. So now because of this refund happens, we will get notification that's your Agumoni Labs has a refund, right? So that refund notification will gonna come to whom? These Agumoni Labs, it will come to the refund from Agumoni Labs, right? The Stripe is giving this refund on behalf of the Agumoni Labs to the customer, right? Because ultimately the system that's which works is in this case the Agumoni Labs. Now, and also they will gonna get a message that Royal Biryani House bottle could not accept your carry out order, right? So these are the two things you can expect from the Agumoni Labs. That's the refund process happens. Also, that was the earlier payment, right? So and this kind of things that you can expect, right? So that pretty much covers how our payment processing workflow working in as a part of the system, so that customer can safely order a food by using a conversational frameworks, having asking by asking a lot of different questions, and which I covered earlier, and then they can compare the prices across many different restaurants, right? And they can basically order the food by having a very good judgment from one systems. I did mention about the review process earlier. So the customer has an opportunity to put the reviews in the menu, right? Like if, for example, Royal Biryani House, there's a restaurant-wise menu, and customer can basically put a review on a certain item as well, right? I think I did cover it earlier, so I'm not going into that level of detail right now, but there's a feedback process, right? Say for example, with the feedback, say for example, which I showed here, right? So for example, you wanted to do that, so you wanted to say that samosa was not fresh, but it was crispy. So that this is the feedback that you gave, and then with that you can basically suggest the rating. That's what can be the rating for this, and it says that its rating should be 3 out of 5. You see that this gets changed into 3 out of 5, right? You can put 3 out of 5, 2 out of 5, 5 out of 5, 4 out of 5, whatever you think, right? But whatever you think, you can put it. So and then what you need to do is ultimately taste and freshness. This tagged into this too, so it has a automatically tag taste, value, portion, fresh, spicy, packaging. Based on your text that you write, AI automatically puts this tagging that do, and also they automatically suggest also rating, right? But you have human always have an opportunity to modify, right? So it means customer can modify. That's another beautiful way to do that. That said, now when you give this feedback, right, what happens with this feedback, right? So you go to the restaurant, right, and you might be able to see somewhere here, right, this feedback is given that samosa is 3, feedback. That's so what it's given, right? So its rating is 3. So now the rating is happening at the menu level as well as the overall level. How powerful the system is, right? So for the customer's own order, they can basically give the rating. Now I wanted to show you that in very real quick, that's how the restaurant owner can basically act when there is a review. So I'm logging as a restaurant owner. Restaurant owner can go to the restaurant, basically in their carry out order, or sorry, the feedback button, they can respond for the last one that they can respond, or say they can say the optional restaurant response, right? Sorry. So the what it came, so much was not fresh, but it was spicy. We will ensure most out of customer satisfactions. We will ensure the customer satisfactions and will give kitchen crew instruction for correcting this. We will see you next time. So restaurant owner can basically write respond on that, right? So it means that this is the question, then that this is the feedback, and this is the response, right? So that everywhere, that's wherever there is a restaurant owner can, they want, they can respond. They, if they respond, what happens, right? That's, we have to log in as a customer again, and we can see that the customer's restaurant owner's response also over there, right? So it means as a part of process, right, as a part of feedback process, all of these things gets updated, right? So that's how the review process works in the menu level. Now all the customers, this review is not for the customer that logged in. Any customer logged in, they can see this review from the systems whenever for the participating restaurants, right? So that's what I'd like to show. That pretty much covers our the flow for the payment, right? Orders, payment, and the payment refund, as well as the our review or rating customer feedback workflow.